Hello everyone, it's World Champs Week and we're lucky enough to have our man on the ground, Charlie Coquillard. He's in Champery.
Mountain bike fans, welcome to the 2025 Downhill World Championship here in Champéry. The weather is looking rather uncertain here. However, it is supposed to come down during the day and storm tonight. So the conditions will change throughout the weekend and we will see how that unfolds. It seems like most of the fastest and skilled riders on the planet are worried it's going to rain and turn this track into a slip and slide of death.
But I rode it in the rain when I was here in summer and it was terrifying.
Wet is tricky. I don't shine when it's wet, so hopefully it's perfect condition.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I do like the wet, but on this track it's so hard pack, could be really deaf and I don't want to die. So
today we'll go down the track, check out the most interesting and fresh section and analyze where the riders are going. Hopefully by the end of this video you will have a good idea of how gnarly, steep and unlike any other track on the circuit, Champery is. So without further ado, let's check out the track.
So Charlie, I'm hearing it's kind of one line out there. Can you find a section with any line choice? Is there anything available?
There's quite one line here, very bike parky. There is a few line choice around, but I reckon once it comes to race day, there's only going to be one line when they figure out which one's fastest. This line I've got behind me, there is like a high line and drop into the corner, or like two pretty gnarly steps into the corner. So I'm gonna set up the Ghost Whisperer and we're gonna see if the high line or the low line is quickest. I think it's the third lap for like the fastest females.
And we're hearing he's got the ghost. Quick, send them to Ken. Okay, boss. It's coming. What, 2 secs?
Here's Michaela Parton's preview run coming into this section. You can see this main line down the 2 heavy drops under braking, then round the corner. It's rougher, but it's shorter, and there's more support for turning. This high line is nice and smooth on the way in. It is longer though, and there's less support when you're actually turning up on that high line. So Louise Ferguson is first up. She's on that higher line. Nice smooth braking surface, turn in, and gives it that wider line for the corner. The turn in did look tricky though, and who we're going to compare her against? He got her! It's Vali Hole. She's on that lower line. Double drop, big compressions under braking, but it is a lot shorter. So let's compare them both as they come into the corner, neck and neck. Vali slows up for the drops as Louise gets off the brakes. So Louise is pulling a few bike lengths out in front of Vali as Vali drops to the inside, and oh no, she's disappearing up. Oh no, 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 oh no. Come on. Now we're back as Louise drops into that line. They're both completely out of shot. Where are they going to be if they come around the corner? Yes, Vali is in the lead. She's got a couple bike lengths on Louise, but Louise should have had more speed out of that left-hander with that hard drop in, but there's no chance she's going to catch her. And at the finish line, the difference is going to be 0.68 to Vali Hole. You would not believe the absolute nightmare I had to make that work. Anyway, why was that wide line not faster? So that inside line, it has really good support where you're actually needing to turn, whereas the outside doesn't have support. So even though it's a wider setup, you just can't corner as fast. But maybe you could gap here and land, get a wider setup and turn where it's grippy.
Good job, Ken. Now back to Charlie.
So I'm in this section, which is normally 3 bike park turns. However, they've pulled it so you can cut straight through. And I'm going to show you how steep it is. 81%. Here, you have 3 choices. The first one is to dive in from the top and take the outside line, holding on for dear life and hitting the somewhat sturdy left catch berm at the bottom. This is the line most racers were favoring. You can also go around the left-hander up top, allowing you to start lower and be more in control. Then drop into the outside line, but be wary, as you're coming sideways, the slippery looks could take your front wheel out and end your race. The third option is to go inside the second part of this section, but with the dirt being packed, the compression at the bottom is huge and you're risking a seat buck and a trip to the nearest overpriced Swiss hospital.
It's like super hard packed and still like a little bit moist, so like it's a bit slick, like really slick. I think everybody's probably a bit sketched, like just with the conditions, because you come in, feel good, and then all of a sudden you're like starting to slide a little bit.
Just below you get into a 180-degree corner which has caught out a large amount of riders and seem to be causing trouble to even the most agile, but not to Max RN.
Here comes Michaela into this tight corner. Now freeze, those rocks are like ice. So the safe line would be to go low, slow it down, and hit that berm. But these riders are really good, so they can deal with braking early, staying light in the brakes, getting the slightly wider setup for the corner. But what about going up high, gapping, landing above the rocks, on the dirt, and railing the turn? Let's see. Let's kick things off with the old king of Champery, Danny Hart. He goes for that middle line, gets it clean. And we got Ronan Dunne. Man's on fire. He does that high gap. But you did have to jump really high. So let's compare the two. So they come into the corner. Ronan hops up high. He's going super high. And Danny's actually out in front a little bit. Ronan's going to have to rail this turn off the brakes to carry the speed. And coming out the corner, he does it. He overtakes him. And at the finish, 0.11 to Ronan, but he was going to be accelerating down that next straight.
Lovely bit of work there, Ken. Okay, now back to the track.
Follows a series of high-speed bike park jumps and turns that would be fun to ride but absolutely terrifying to race. Someone needs to get the speed gun out.
Amazing, cool. Charlie, let's see more of the track.
Ben, I am at the bottom of what has already been called the SENDOMETER. It is a very tricky section where you're going from a really fast left-hand berm, and you can either do the inside line, which is a little bit janky, or you can jump on that fresh section of grass on the high line. It's quite far, quite high, and then you drop back into what is a very steep straight section. The slower rider are going in those little snaky turns, but you're definitely losing some time.
Et ils ont réussi à tenir inter. Ah, c'est bien pour deux freins, ça s'en aller quoi. Et ils ont fait souche avant du coup.
A few riders have already done it, but Ronan Dunne is really coming out as the fastest man on track today, at least the one that looks the best. So if you're thinking about your fantasy team still, think no more and put Ronan Dunne in.
This was a propaganda message delivered by Pinkbike in partnership with the Government of Ireland. Add Ronan to your Pinkbike fantasy team for a chance to win a trip to the luckiest country in the world. Ronan Dunne for president.
Okay, Ronan Dunne in the fantasy team. Charlie's calling it. If he doesn't do well, it's Charlie's fault. It's all Charlie.
After a few more bike park turns and Schralps, we head into the lower woods where slippery routes and flat, tricky corners are waiting for our riders. Once the riders hit the road, they drop back into a steep, grassy off-camber section, linking into a few very steep and tight turns. This leads them onto the last finished jumps where we can see an old retiree throwing shapes after coming out of his nursing home. Practice has just finished. I am at the bottom jumps right now and everyone is packing it in. It is 1 p.m. here in Champéry. It was a very interesting training session. There's a few line choices here and there, but I reckon by the time the race comes in, every rider will have the same line. There might be one or two that are dissimilar. It might rain tonight and tomorrow, which will make the track very different if it does. Like, those bike park turns are really, really slick already, so I can't even imagine how slippery it's going to be if it starts raining.
Oh, yep, that's going to be exciting. So thank you very much. Go and make a video, Charlie. Can't wait to see it.